And then honestly, just like every other person on any other podcast, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? Read that book, changed my life. And then I've always been fascinated with like wealthy people. Like anytime I see someone with money, it's never like, must be nice or anything like that. It's just like, I want to have coffee with that guy and see what he did and like pick his brain, really change people's lives. And I don't think anyone knows it. Like school doesn't teach it to you. I always joke, like, I didn't know how to invest, but I can play. Give me a recorder, I can play hot cross buns. It's like sweet, like you know what I mean? Like I'm ready for the real world. So it's like,
welcome millionaires and future millionaires. You're listening to the Millionaires Unveiled podcast, a show where you'll hear the stories and interviews of everyday millionaires. We'll unveil their decisions, their strategies, and their portfolio allocation. Now to your host, Jace Mattinson.
Welcome back to another episode of the Millionaires Unveiled podcast. This is episode number 342. Stace, how's it going? What's happening?
I'm just trying to keep my composure after we just tried to do this 4 times in a row. But we made it through that first little line. You made it through that first sentence or two very strongly. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was today, but it's all good. It's all gets edited, and we're gonna be ready to rock and roll. I'm excited for today's episode. Actually, it's a friend from the north, as they like to say. He lives up in Canada and commutes for work to the north, real far north. He's a power engineer, and he frequently for work heads up, basically kind of week on, week off, and it keeps all of our energy supply rocking and rolling from Canada. Net worth at $1.3 million. He became a millionaire before he was 30, actually. And his wife didn't even know she was marrying a millionaire, which is kind of cool. But he's done extremely well. He does a little bit of real estate, a little bit of insurance on the side, and has quite the diversified portfolio. And super great interview with Jarret. I'm excited for it. If you'd like to be on the show, send us an email, millionairesunveiled@gmail.com. We've opened up some more slots into Q2 of 2024. And if you haven't heard your story, if you think you can add some value, we'd love to have you. Got a great lineup coming up, but always looking for additional guests. So also, if you would please leave us a rating and review on either iTunes or Spotify. We're getting some more on Spotify recently. I'll probably read a few of those here soon. That listenership continues to grow, and I'm pumped. We got some good growth internationally coming. I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but the numbers still keep ticking up. So hopefully we can continue to spread the word and provide value to all those who listen. So without any further delay, let's get in the interview with Jarret. Welcome to the Millionaires Unveiled podcast. And the show we have Jarret. Jarret, do you want to just give us a little about your background and what you're up to now?
Yeah, so I'm originally from a small town in Saskatchewan, and currently I live in Calgary, Alberta. I've been out here for about 7 years now, and I work as a power engineer up in Fort McMurray. So I'm kind of a week on, week off kind of schedule. I fly in for that, and then on the side, I just finished my real estate license, so I'm kind of getting into that on my days off, and then also got like my insurance license, so I sell a little bit of life insurance on the side as well, but for sure the main source of income is my power engineering. And then last year, I recently got married, and we have a baby on the way, baby boy, due December 17th, so we're kind of getting excited for that.
Nice. So I got to ask, what hit first, becoming a millionaire or getting married?
What was it? I think it was close to the same time. I think just before getting married. My goal is to get there before 30, and I just turned 30 in March, and I just hit it. Like I hit it before the 30, so that was kind of cool to just sneak by.
So you married a millionaire, Wink?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know if she knew.
That's awesome. So
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think might have just got married in the summer. Yeah, I think I would have been just made it by then.
Or you bought the ring and you dipped under type thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'll hopefully only do it once.
Yeah. So what is your net worth today?
A quick math, I think it's around like that 1 point. Let's try 1.3.
Okay. And how's it broken up?
So tax-free savings account here in Canada, which is like your guys' it's about 120, 127. I got a cash account with 55 in it. Another 13,000 in another cash account. I have 68,000 in an account that I use just for trading options. That's at 68,000. Our RSP, which is your guys' 401k, is around 220. Total investments like through the stock market is around 485. And then current property, my wife and I's house is, we're actually listing it Thursday. We bought a new house. So if we sells for what it's listed for, we'll come out with 283. Rental, I got about 80 grand equity there. And then I have a cabin I bought a few years ago, and there's about 353 there. So about 716 in equity through real estate. Cash is sitting around that 36,000. Crypto is small, like 10,000, maybe 40,000 in equity in like our vehicles. And then I didn't count any little things, but that's majority of it.
Nice. So let's start with all the money that's invested in the market. Did you start that right as you were kind of starting your professional career?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really. So I've been power engineering, finished it actually right when I finished school. Oil crashed, so it was really hard to find a job. So I kind of worked everywhere. So I've been up north with a good paying job for about 5 years now. So I kind of started all that 5 years ago. I didn't really have much till then. But yeah, I just kind of took it on myself, and it's just something that I enjoy. So I do, like, I manage and do all our own, for my wife and I, all our investments for sure.
Nice. And is that invested primarily in the equivalent of index funds or mutual funds, or what's the breakup?
I would say 30% just in your index funds. I'm a big fan of dividend investing. I just can't stop thinking about the math. Like every time you buy something, it's just making your own paycheck for it. I can't stop thinking about it. And then I have a huge chunk of it in oil stocks, just maybe a little biased because of my industry, but I just think it's something that's been totally overlooked and no money's been put into it because they think that we can just turn oil off. And I think we can't. So I think there's going to be a time come here soon that they're going to realize that, oh, wow, you can't just do that when they tell you to turn the pipes on. It takes, a lot of years to for investment and inventory to get actually oil out of the ground. And all these companies are kind of been sick of getting beat up and stuff. And they've openly vouched that the shareholders, it's their turn to make the money. So they're making tons of cash flow right now. Stocks are still not going up because no one's buying them because they're scared of oil. And they're just printing money and it's all coming back to the shareholders. So I think, I don't know, hope I'm right, but I might be a little biased because that's my industry I'm in. But I think it's a pretty good opportunity to have some cash sitting for sure.
Yeah. Do you plan for that to kind of continue in terms of your investment? And do you continue to put money in those retirement type accounts?
Yeah, like the longer retirements, I do just the index funds because it's like, okay, well, like that stuff's not getting touched till I retire an old man. So that stuff, I get the whole index stuff. And then same with the oil. If I am right, hopefully, I mean, I've been wrong before. So if we get lucky there and make some money there, I would probably sell my positions and I'd roll them into the dividend stocks and then into the like the boring S&P 500s and stuff like that for sure.
Awesome. So the real estate that you started accumulating, you mentioned you've got, is it a rental and then a cabin and then your current primary, which you're selling to buy another primary? Is that correct?
Yeah, we already bought the new house. So we get the new house October 16th move-in date. So now that we have that under contract and everything's waived conditions, we've done like a major clean on ours and we're going to put it on the market Thursday, which has been kind of cool because I got my realtor license kind of. So me and a guy that's helping me, he showed me the ropes on it. So it's kind of cool to help and kind of get a commission on both sides of my own deal for the first time. So that was kind of neat. And then, yeah, hopefully it sells quick and then we'll be just moving into that other property.
Why not keep the one you're in as a rental?
More so just a little conservative on my end. I just think that we're in a pretty good housing bubble in Calgary. I think it's one of those things that I'd rather just take a little capital and just be a little safe, especially with my wife. She's going to be going on mat leave in December. So she'll be on mat leave. She won't be making as much money. So it'll be more down to one income kind of deal. And then this way, if there is sort of a thing with these interest rates, like a bubble or anything like that, I got a bunch of cash sitting there to kind of tie us over. And then it's one of those things, if it does keep going up, well, where at least we do have a property, so it kind of hedges us in the market as well, for sure.
Wow, well, you are really in a great position here, and I'm so impressed with how much you've accomplished in the last 5 years of building your wealth. So how did this all start, your interest in finance? How did this begin?
I've always been interested in like money. Like I always just like, even as a kid, like if I bought something for $20 and sold it for 40, I just thought that was the coolest thing there is. And then honestly, just like every other person on any other podcast, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? Read that book, changed my life. And then just, I've always been fascinated with like wealthy people. Like anytime I see someone with money, it's never like, must be nice or anything. It's just like, I want to have coffee with that guy and see what he did and like pick his brain, you know? And just, like my parents, like we didn't come from much money, but like I've seen my mom, work as hard as she has, and she's just constantly a grinder. So it's like, well, there's got to be a way to not have to work that hard. You know what I mean? So just started podcasts, reading books, everything like that is kind of how I got the interest in it.
And does your wife share similar interest, or do you kind of run with this?
No, it's more so I run with it, but she's a great partner with it because she's she trusts my opinion. Anytime there's a money decision, we have a conversation about it. But at the end of the day, if I'm confident in it, we're going to go with that route. It's the same way as like she's a nurse. So like right now with this baby stuff, she works in the NICU with babies. So it's like any appointment, we have a conversation, but anything she decides, like we're going to go that way. So we're good at kind of picking our strengths, and that's worked out pretty well for us. But she's good. She'll like put money in her investment accounts and she'll be like, hey, there's X amount of money in there. Go do what you do. So it works out really good on both our ends.
Kind of sticking in your lane a little bit.
Yeah, knowing I'll leave the babies to her and I'll try to hopefully do okay money wise.
It's been similar to our setup.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the real estate and also the selling life insurance. So where do you kind of see what's the goal? Do you see yourself kind of moving away from your main power engineering at some point? Is that kind of taking you towards that, or do you want to maintain this steady stream of power engineering and grow this on the side? Where do you kind of see things going?
I would love to be home. I like my job up north. Like I really like the guys I work with, and I do like the work, and I like having like the 7 days off and stuff, but I do hate being away, and especially with a little one on the way. I hate leaving my wife, and like now I have trouble leaving my dog and my wife, never mind when a kid comes. So I could tell it's going to be hard on me, but it's kind of the golden handcuffs because, you make more money going up north. So I would like to start these things on the side, and then maybe if I could get, the real estate stuff going or something to a point one day that I could make enough that I could see the potential that I could, if I have enough in my investments that I can take a leap and try it and hopefully grow back to my income I make now and be able to stay home. Because there's nothing really up here in Calgary for my profession. There is, but you just won't make as much as you do up north.
Right. With the real estate, are you hoping to use that primarily for yourself for additional real estate investments, or working with other clients or growing your own team eventually?
Yeah, I would love to work with other people, friends and family and stuff. Just got to get a little more confident with it just because right now it's tough to sell a house if you don't really know exactly what you're doing. So it was good to do these last couple of transactions with a guy that helped me so I could kind of see it. And then it's my own deal, so I wasn't kind of annoying, the seller if I didn't know what I was talking about kind of thing. It was just myself. So, but I'd like to get like that because this nice thing right now with the market like Calgary is it's growing, so you don't have to make as many deals in some of the smaller communities because the housing market is going up. So even if you could sell 2, 3, 4 extra a year on the side, like it would be a huge amount of money that would come in, and then you can, transfer it over some of these more investments or buy more properties or have the inside scoop for buying more properties. Yeah, for sure.
Right. With your rental property, is that a short-term rental or a long-term rental? And are you managing that?
It's actually just a single family with like a basement suite. So there's 2 units. It's actually back in Saskatchewan. So it's pretty good actually. Like my mom lives upstairs, and then there's someone in the basement. So she runs a pretty tight ship because it used to be her house. So it's pretty good. Like I give her I could get more money for rent if there was someone else upstairs, but you got to help mom out for sure. And she's awesome. Like she pays the utilities. She treats it like her house still. If something breaks, she just fixes it and then sends me the bill. So it's super handy. And whoever's in the basement, if they're not very well, she tosses them out. Like yeah, she's a lot more, she's better at that than I am. So I just kind of like hide in the weeds and let her do her thing. But so then she takes care of the yard and everything like that. So it works out good for both for sure.
Bless mom. We love her.
Yeah. God bless moms.
So the arrangement that you have with work, do you live in that property with your mom when you're up there? Do you have some other housing arrangements, or how does that kind of work for you?
Well, the rental's in Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan. And then when I work in Fort McMurray, Alberta, it's just a fly in, fly out. And we have a camp right at the site. So we're just in camp for a week. Yeah. It's right between the two plants. So it works out pretty good, actually.
Gotcha. And that's just work provided housing. You don't have to pay any extra for that.
No, as soon as that's another thing that is nice about that job. Like if you leave with $1 in your account and you stay offline, online shopping, you can come home in a week with $1. Like cooks everything, great food. They spoil us as best they can. I mean, it is kind of a little prison cell out in the woods, but they make it as nice as they possibly can for sure. So we got it good that way.
And you just fly up and fly back?
Yeah. So I fly from Calgary, we stop in Edmonton, pick up some more of the guys there, and then we land in Fort Mac, and then they bus us right to camp, and we're there for the week. And then, so just the camp and plant will be, and then fly home.
Interesting. So it's pretty common that everybody kind of lives in one of the two or main hubs there, and then everybody flies in, flies back kind of thing.
Yeah, there's tons of guys that live in like BC. You can live anywhere. It's just the company will cover the flight from Calgary or Edmonton are the two hubs. So if you want to live anywhere, you just got to pay for that flight to get into those two hubs. So it works pretty good.
Interesting. What do you, tell our listeners, a power engineer, I'm trying to jog my memory. I don't even know. Granted, this is ironic because I live in Texas, but I don't know that we've even had that many people on that are in the oil and gas industry, and it's a massive industry. What do you do exactly?
Yeah, so you probably don't really know because it's more of like power engineers. Like in the States, they kind of can get away with more without like the regulations and stuff. Like they can more teach someone to just do the same thing we do, and they don't have to. But in Canada, through ABSA, that's pretty regulated and stuff, and you need this ticket to run like big boilers and stuff like that. So it kind of works out a little bit better for us Canadians that way. But in a small sense, what we do is we treat water, throw it through some big boilers, make steam, send the steam downhole, make everything super hot, and then when it liquefies all the oil and all the gas comes up, all the oil, all the water comes up, and then when it comes back to the plant as emulsion, we call it. Then in the plant we treat and separate the oil and the water, sell the oil, and then we actually from the water we separated. We can retreat and reuse it in the boilers, like 98% of the water that we bring back up. So, and then just keeps doing that. And then and then whatever we get, we're like 15,000 barrels a day between the two plants. So we're not a huge company, but in a short term, that's kind of what we do.
You make it sound so easy for millions of dollars.
Don't ask too many more questions because then I won't know the answer and I'll be exposed.
No, that's awesome. It's pretty amazing. You drive, I live in Texas and I think I've talked about that a couple of times. You drive out West Texas in particular and you see oil rigs everywhere. You see water trucks and you see all this stuff and sand truck. And unless you actually really go and get educated, you really have no idea. You're like, I don't know, oil just comes out of the ground. Like put gasoline in my car, goes to some refinery. I've smelt those a few times. Like, you start checking the boxes pretty quick.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, unless you're in it, you don't know about it, right?
Yeah, you just use the end products. But
yeah,
no, that's cool. That's cool stuff. How did you choose to go into that?
Actually, it was funny. I was playing hockey, and I think it was my dad or someone asked me, like, what are you going to do when you're done hockey? Because you clearly ain't going to make it. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I remember I had a buddy, and he was a power engineer, and he was making really good money, and he's not a smart dude. So I was like, oh, if he can do it, I can do it. So I remember, I remember they had a course in my hometown. I signed up for it, and I remember first day, like, no idea what a power engineer was until I got the books, and then all I knew was boilers. That's all my buddy told me, steam and boilers, and yeah, so that's how I got into it.
I have to say, the beginning of that story is the most Canadian thing I have ever heard. So I just got done playing hockey.
Yeah, I realized wasn't going anywhere with it, so better start life, I guess.
That's awesome. So where do you go from here? Do you have a target net worth that you're trying to hit or passive income goal by any stretch? Yeah,
so right now with that cabin deal, it costs me quite a bit monthly. So like my goal is just to I'd like to get that down. It was a family cabin I bought off my grandpa. I was I had drawn up this idea in my head, and I presented it to him, thinking maybe in like 5 to 6 years, if he starts slowing down, he might be up for it. And called me back a week later and said, let's do it. So I was like, all right. So right now that eats up a bunch of my cash, but the end goal for myself is, now that my wife and I are having kids, is be just at a point where I can cover everything and just literally let her, if she wants to be a mom, be a mom. If she wants to go back to nursing, go nursing. She wants to go for 2 days, go for 2 days. Just like put her in that position where she can work if she wants, not because she has to, kind of thing would be a big one for me. And then, yeah, I just slowly get my, like, it'd be pretty cool if to get to a point where like my passive income covers my bills. So then a guy could take that chance of trying that next thing that he's passionate about. And if he doesn't do well at it, maybe you're not getting ahead, but you're not going backwards kind of deal. But yeah, I think for sure that's my short-term goals.
Has your spending increased as your net worth has grown?
Yes.
How so?
Well, we're pretty good, but I mean, it's easy to creep, right? Like, you go on, you don't worry about the $50. You go for supper, your friends ask you. I remember before I had the job, like your friends would ask you to go for supper. You're like, oh, we went for supper last week. Like, we can't go with them this week. You know what I mean? Now you just go. And so I've noticed that, like, nothing crazy, but like, $150 here, there, it adds up quick. I mean, we just bought a new vehicle too, but we needed one, so it's whatever. But yeah, I mean, the creep for sure, but it's not too bad. We like to travel, so like we don't really spend money on like flashy stuff, but we enjoy, like, my wife and I really enjoy like traveling and suppers and that kind of stuff.
Have you considered renting out the cabin, or do you already do that?
Well, that was kind of the deal, like, because I kind of made my grandpa like an offer for it that gave him a bunch of cash that he didn't have to really worry about, because he was in a spot where he wanted, I think, a little bit of cash, but he didn't want to sell it because he loves it. And then I kind of just approached him like, I'm busy with life right now, but one day I'd love to be out there for the summers. And I said, I can give you this much cash. It takes care of you till the end, and I'm not going to be there for a while, so just keep using it till the day you're gone, and it's kind of a win-win. And then once you're gone, I'll just kind of carry on with it with my family, kind of thing. So I don't rent it out because it's only for the summer kind of deal. Like, it's not winterized, and it works out perfect too because he's out there every day, all the time, maintaining it and stuff. And so it's kind of a win-win for everyone.
Well, I'm really impressed how much you care for your family along the way through all of this. And you might not think much of it, but it speaks a lot about who you are.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I made sure the deals worked out for me too. But yeah, definitely make sure that they're covered, and like, if you can find, that's the way I look at life. If you can find a win-win deal for everyone, I think those are pretty easy ones to sign off on. And then yeah, just like the thing, like I said, back to the goals, I really want to get to a point where it's letting my wife, like Carly, decide if she wants to work or if she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. Because I don't know, some of these stories you hear about some of the daycares in the cities and stuff, and it's just like, I want to put my kid in daycare if we want to, not because we have to. Just little things like that is kind of where I'm standing. But
don't blame me on that. Hear ya for sure with a couple little ones ourselves. So let's wrap up with some rapid fire questions. What's the most expensive pair of shoes that you purchased?
Shoes? I mean, I've spent like $400 on work boots, but shoes wise would be like my wedding shoes. I think they're like $300.
Okay. What about the most expensive meal out that you paid for?
It's actually funny. Out on our honeymoon, we went to Mallorca and we got like a Michelin chef or whatever, went to whatever that's called or whatever. And it was like $1,000. And it was honestly the worst meal I've ever eaten.
Oh man.
Like, we were laughing. Like, it's great. It's worth every dollar because every time my wife and I bring it up, like, we just laugh about it because it was cool. The whole presentation was awesome. Like, there was a guy with the wine, like, he poured you 2 glasses and then he took your bottle, and then, like, as soon as you were done, he was watching from a distance. As soon as you were done your last sip, he was there filling it up. And we were there for probably 2 hours, but it was just the texture. Like, it was probably hard to make. So, like, I'm giving the guy credit, but like, it's like he just didn't care what it tasted like. And just like the texture was like, there was a dessert. It was like a sucking chocolate candy. And then as soon as you got through it, it like exploded an egg yolk in your mouth. And I was like, geez, like,
oh man,
it was funny. We were taking bites of it and just like biting something and sending it back. There was a little bit of duck that was okay, but we were sending everything back. And then finally the chef himself comes out he's like, "Hey, how's your meal?" And typical Canadians, "Oh, it's very good. Thank you so much." Like, and it's like, he's like, "Are you sure everything's good?" Like, "Yeah, it's really good. You're doing a great job back there, buddy." And then that was it. And then he went back, and there's like people in the restaurant, and they're all like they're like, "Oh, that's so good. You got to try this." I'm like, "You guys can't think that. Like, it was like an episode of Fear Factor. It was awful, but it was a great experience, and it was worth every penny because we laugh all the time about it.
Honestly, it was worth it for me for you to spend $1,000 on that meal just for the story.
Yeah, it was 800 to 1,000 because Canadian dollar versus the euro. For sure, it was up there, but oh well.
I don't blame you, man. I've had a few of those myself, and sometimes I'm just like, man, I just could have gone and got $3, $4 tacos and been extremely happy.
Yeah, like I think we went out after, like I'm sure we did because it was just trying to get through it for sure. But oh well, we made her.
That's awesome. What about the most expensive car?
Well, like I bought a boat a few years ago, if that counts, but I sold it. But we just bought a Lincoln, and that was $90,000.
Did you buy that brand new?
The Lincoln, yeah.
All cash?
No, actually, I'm never gonna pay cash for a vehicle because they lose so bad. I got a good interest rate. I'm a big believer in just a vehicle's going to cost you X amount per month. I'd rather, instead of paying cash for 100 and in 10 years when it's worth 20, I'd just put 100 in something that pays a good dividend to make the payment and just won't grow that 100, but at least hope they won't lose it. Just let it pay for the car. So yeah, we financed that one. We put some money down just so the payment wasn't depressing, but we financed it.
Okay. What's been the most expensive? I guess maybe it was this honeymoon because you spent $1,000 on the meal, but most expensive bucket list experience or trip that you've been on?
Yeah, probably our honeymoon. We treated ourselves. It was probably around $10,000 for a week. Went to Thailand. I forget how much that cost, but that was a good one. That's the nice thing about my wife and I too, is she's kind of pushes me because I can get a little frugal, and so it's good. Like I remember with that Thailand trip, I had $15,000 to my name, and I was done school, she was done school, and she said this is the only time before we start work that we can just leave for a month, and I just didn't want to do it. And I remember I was like, okay, it's going to cost me like $5,000. I was like, okay, we'll go, but like I'm not looking forward to this, and it turned out to be the best trip of my life. So she kind of makes me spend when I'm saving maybe a little bit too much, and it's every time she's done that, it's worked out to be awesome. Now I love traveling, and we do it as much as we can. So, but I think $10,000 for the honeymoon was probably the most one-time trip.
Nice. Is there a place or experience that you're looking forward to that's still on the list?
There's tons. Yeah, we want to go everywhere. I think our biggest goal is to just like not stop when the kid comes. Like we just want to push ourselves to, just because we have a newborn or something, that it's going to be harder, but we're still going to do the trips. It's just be a little different, but we want to just keep traveling with the baby. So that's our next goal.
We took our oldest, we had kind of a similar mindset. Our oldest daughter, we took her to Europe twice before she was, she was probably 14 months old that second trip. I think we took her at 8 months.
I was not paying for her to go to Europe, so it was definitely before she turned 2.
Yeah, get that free seat.
Well, I can confirm we have not done anything over the pond since we've had more than one kid, but yeah. But we enjoy traveling with the kids. I don't actually like the traveling portion of traveling, but I like being other places with my kids as well.
Yeah, it would be the same way for sure. It's funny too, because when there's a baby on the flight cussing or something, I just have to tell myself, like, that could be me. Can't chirp them no more. But
yeah. What's a key lesson that you learned from childhood?
I think most I got was probably just like do whatever it took. Lesson from my mom and my dad, kind of just like do whatever it takes to kind of pay the bills kind of thing. I've seen them work multiple jobs or whatever. Didn't realize it back then, but now when you're your own adult and realize how much the world costs, that you kind of realize the sacrifice that they did for sure.
Okay. What's the craziest thing that you've ever done to earn money?
Probably cleaned up dog poop. We had a thing at work. We were talking about, I don't know what, and one guy bet me that you couldn't make money cleaning dog poop. Well, I said, yeah, you can clean dog poop or something. And I just put like a stupid Facebook ad just to prove a point, and started getting all these blow ups. So I told the guys, like, I'll do 2 months of it and show you the money. And it was funny. I made like $300-400 every day's off just going to, and like some people would call me and I had to double check the address. I was like, there's like 3 piles of poop back here. And they're like, yeah, I just hate, they're like, there's like, I just hate dog poop. They're like, just, yeah, here's $60, grab it. I was like, all right. So, but I stopped it, but it was just to prove a point to a guy at work. But that's probably the.
Oh, that's funny. What about the most fun that you've had with money?
My boat, for sure. I miss it. But that was the most fun I had with it, I would say.
How much did you spend on that boat, and why'd you sell it?
I paid $104,000 for it, and that's my thing is I'm into boats and like the lake and stuff. But I was watching forever for deals, and then my goal was to just buy one, use it for 5 years, and then like they hold their value for being like depreciating asset pretty good. So I was like, if I can get a good enough deal, I could probably use it for 5 years and maybe only lose like 10 grand on it. So I bought the boat, found the deal, bought it, paid cash for it, which was nice. And then used it like hard that summer. Had like 28 people at the most, like at our cabin that summer, like all my buddies. It was fun. And we used it, put a ton of hours on it. And then COVID hit and we were going to be busy for the next few years because weddings got kind of pushed. So I wasn't going to get to use it. And I listed it for fun for, what did I list it for? 125,000, and it sold in 45 minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
And it was easier. Yeah. And it was easier deal than like selling like a chair on Marketplace. The guy just literally said, sent me $3,000 to take the listing down, asked if he could look at it. I was like, yeah, it's a lot of money. Went and looked at it. And then literally I just pulled it to a parking lot, and I was going to show him how everything works. Like, that's what YouTube's for. Gave me a certified check and he was gone. I was like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
What kind of boat was it?
It was a 2018 R23 Taiga.
Taiga? Nice.
Yeah. But
you
it sucks now.
Gonna get another one?
Well, one day for sure, but that's the thing that sucks is now to replace it, right? But maybe once the cabin's paid off and things are looking a little better or something, and maybe if interest rates, I'm going to sit on some cash here for a bit until these interest rates straighten out, since I have a few renewals coming up. So I want to make sure we're all right there. And then I would like for sure to get another one though.
Nice. What's a closely held belief that you once had that you recently changed your mind on?
Probably that, like, I remember growing up, like, oh, if you just had a normal job, you couldn't make it. Like, all these guys that are rich must have had it handed to them or something. But once I figured out kind of how compound interest works, it's pretty impressive how, like, you don't need to make much money. You just have to know where to put it and what to do with it. Like for example, like we're going to do it. I'm going to do it with my kid. Like, you put 7,000 away the day he was born, put it in an S&P 500. And if you never touch it and teach him never to touch it, and he doesn't until he's 65, like, he'll have $1 million. You add $200 on top of that, he's got like $5 million. It's like, wow. Like, everyone has $7,000 and $200. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to put your mind to it. So it's like, so that's kind of the thing where I'd really like to go. Like, my goal would be to like teach people the basics of finance, because it's kind of breaks my heart. Like, I've told a few people, like older people, about it, and like to watch their face when they realize like that's how that works, and then they've realized like they've missed their time. You know what I mean? It's kind of like heartbreaking. So it'd be cool to find like just teach like people at, you know, like I started at 25, but like even knowing how much more ahead I'd be if I started at 18, you know, and it can just be a couple $100, like, just crazy how the compound interest can really change people's lives. And just, I don't think anyone knows it. Like, school doesn't teach it to you. I always joke, like, you know, I didn't know how to invest, but I can play, give me a recorder, I can play hot cross buns. It's like, sweet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm ready for the real world. So it's like, it'd be nice to, if I could, I think I would love to do that. Like, if I didn't have to worry about money, I would just probably do something in that route.
You heard it here first, man. Learning how to do hot cross buns versus compounded interest. What is our school system teaching?
Oh, I know. It's a joke, but whatever. That's another conversation.
Yeah. Awesome. When you think about luck, skill, hard work, how would you rank those?
I would say hard work. I notice the harder you work, the more lucky you get, I would say. Like, for example, like, you know, just my deals too. Like, I just come up with win-wins, and then you kind of seem like you got lucky. And then, yeah, what was the last one? Hard work, luck, and skill. Yeah, you got to be skillful too. But I mean, I'm kind of a pinhead, and I'm battling through it. So it's like, I'd put that one last for sure.
Awesome. Any last words of advice for somebody who's just starting out?
I'd say just stick to the basics till you figure out what kind of way you want to go. Make sure you figure out like your why, you know, because someone that, like I said, maybe you want to cover bills will be different than someone that wants growth. And just, I would say also too, don't get overwhelmed. Like, if you can only start with $50, start with $50 instead. If someone's, and don't compare yourself to others, because there's always going to be someone that's crushing it compared to you. So I would say just start and reach out. Like, I was always kind of nervous, and that's one thing I've been working on, is kind of getting mentors. And I've noticed that's helped. Like, one of our friends' dads I became quite close with. He's done very well for himself, and we text every day. And anytime I have any business questions, I just go straight to him, and he'll give me his take on it, or what he would do, or what he's done. And just to have someone like that is just, it's great to have in your corner, because notice the more people you reach out to, they wanna help. Like if anyone's listening to this and they want to reach out to me anyways, like if I can help you with, I'll give you my advice and anything like that. So just reach out, I would say, is my advice. And yeah, don't be scared to just start, for sure. And start. If you're young, get at it. Yeah.
Do your friends and or family know of your wealth?
No, no one. Well, they know I'm doing good, but like I'll probably keep this pretty low. Like obviously my wife knows. And then I had a few drinks the other day at a wedding and told my one good buddy that I was coming on. So if it gets leaked, I know who to go after.
That's awesome. Have a few drinks and I told my buddy I'm a millionaire. I love it.
Well, awesome. He's my best bud. So if there's one guy I needed to talk to, because I was nervous coming on, so needed someone to tell. But yeah, definitely let it slip.
That's cool. Awesome. That's Jarret with a net worth of $1.3 million. Became a millionaire before he was even 30 years old. Thanks for coming on the show today.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Millionaires Unveiled podcast with Jace Mattinson. For more stories, investment opportunities, and information, check out our website, millionairesunveiled.com. See you next time when you'll hear from another everyday millionaire.